Welcome to Elementary Functions. This video is on the graphs of the other trigonometric functions. My name is Wendy Fresh. I'm from Portland Community College and this is Math 112. Let's begin by looking at the graph of the cosecant function. From the previous section, the graph of the sine function should be familiar. Because the cosecant function is the reciprocal of the sine function, it might be expected that there's a relationship between the two graphs. So let's take a look. Examine the following graph that shows the sine function in green and the cosecant function in blue. Describe any relationship between the graphs. Go ahead and pause the video for a second and take a look at the two graphs and write down some of the things that you notice. Alright, so now that you've had a chance to look at it, let's talk about the things that I noticed. The first thing I noticed is that the cosecant function has vertical asymptotes. Where does it have vertical asymptotes? It has vertical asymptotes at all of the inputs for which the sine function is 0. So it has vertical asymptotes when the sine function is 0. Or another way to say that is when we have y equals the cosecant of x, we see that there are vertical asymptotes when the sine of x is equal to 0. Why does that happen? Well, the reason is going back to the original definition of what a cosecant function is. The cosecant function is defined as the reciprocal of the sine function. And if we have the sine function equaling 0, then that's going to zero out our denominator and create a value that's undefined. Therefore, at those undefined values, we see vertical asymptotes. Now let's look at the graph of the secant function. From a previous section, the graph of the cosine function should also be familiar. Because the secant function is the reciprocal of the cosine function, it might be expected that there's a relationship between these two graphs. And let's take a look. Examine the following graph that shows the cosine function in red and the secant function in blue. Describe any relationship between the graphs. So again, pause the video and take a look. Alright, now that you've had a chance to take a look, I hope that you see that there are vertical asymptotes this time around as well. And based off of what we said the last time, I think that we can make a similar argument. If we remember that y equals the secant of x is 1 over the cosine of x, then what we know is that there are going to be vertical asymptotes wherever the secant is not defined. And where the secant is not defined is where the denominator is equal to 0. So we might say that there are vertical asymptotes at all x values for which the cosine of x is equal to 0.